Welcome to Hospitality Internships, the premier global talent network.
My name is Tim Floor. I'm one of the managing partners with Hospitality Internships, and we are so excited to have you here today with us. As you know, our first virtual internship and career fair is happening in 3 weeks on March 15th. So in the 3 weeks leading up to this, we wanted to bring on a few industry professionals and people throughout academia and industry. So this week we are lucky to have Mr. Lee Cockerell with us. And Lee is a former executive vice president of operations with Disney, and he now owns the Cockerell Academy, and he'll go a little bit in depth into what that is. But thank you all for taking time out of your schedules to join us today, and I will turn it over to Mr. Cockerell. Thank you so much, sir.
You've chosen a good business to be in. I started in it many years ago, and I'm retired now. I tell you a little bit about me to give you perspective on some of the things you may want to really consider doing as you grow your career, your experience, your knowledge, your expertise in management and leadership. And so I grew up on a little farm in Oklahoma, never had been anywhere in my life. We were very poor. My mother was kind of dysfunctional life. She was married 5 times, and I've been adopted twice, got my name Cockerell when I was 16 by husband number 4. So I got to go to college because he had money. And so I went to Oklahoma State for 2 years. I was not a good student. Ended up leaving, went in the Army. That was probably good for me. I was young and not disciplined, and went to Washington, D.C., and I got myself a job at the Washington Hilton Hotel. I'd never been in a hotel before, but a friend of mine was going, so I went along with him, and I got a job there. And I was lucky enough to have a mentor in the hotel that taught me the business. I was pretty intimidated living in Washington, D.C. after growing up in Oklahoma. I had never really been in a fancy place like that. That hotel's where every president comes. Our ballroom seated 3,000 people, and here I was a waiter. So that was my success rate. I worked as a waiter for a couple of years, and then I got a job in the accounting department as a clerk. I took a big salary decrease, went in there, started learning the accounting part of the business, the finance part, and after that, I became the controller for the food and beverage operations. So I took care of all of that. And then I got promoted, went to Chicago, to Conrad Hilton. And then I was promoted to the Waldorf Astoria in New York City, again in the controller area. And then eventually I went to Los Angeles as director of food and beverage operations for Hilton out there. And from there, I left. I went with went with Marriott, and I stayed with Marriott for 17 years. I started as a restaurant manager, became the vice president of food and beverage planning for the company worldwide. And I can tell you the reason I was able to get that job at Marriott was I had really focused and concentrated on becoming an expert in the food business. I'd been in the kitchen. I'd worked in the kitchen. I'd been a waiter. I'd been in special events. I've been in outside catering. I had been in the finance area and the accounting area and learned that part of the business. So my expertise was known, and that's why they gave me the job. And I guess I was lucky they didn't look back to see if I had a college degree. But anyway, performance matters, and it's the one thing that's going to pay off for you. So I worked for Marriott those 17 years all over, Washington, Chicago again, New England. Then I guess 1990, I was recruited by Disney to go to France and open Disneyland Paris, which I did, and in the food and beverage outfit. They wanted me to open all the restaurants, which I did that. And about a year later, I became the vice president of the hotel division there. And then I came back to Orlando in 93 as head of all operations at Walt Disney World. Did that for 10 years and retired after that. My philosophy was always, and I will tell you why I had a good career going from that farm in Oklahoma to running Disney World operations for many years, is I have a really good attitude and reliability. I mean, I can tell you right now, if you write those 2 things down, look at them every day. Attitude, even when you don't want to have a good attitude, force yourself to do it. We say at Disney, you don't have to be happy to work at Disney. You got to act happy for 8 hours, because you're sending a message, and you have a reputation. And I will just tell you, no matter what you do, if you can maintain a good, positive attitude and be that person that people want to work with, and that you're reliable, you do what you say you're going to do, you get things done on time, you show up on time, you will learn all the technical parts of your job. You'll learn how to become a better manager, taking your accounting courses and other courses to grow your expertise in finance and marketing and other places. That's the easy part. The hard part is in life is keeping a good attitude every day and total reliability. Most people are not very organized. They are late. They have a lot of excuses why they don't get things done. So those are some of the hints I will tell you. 3 things you got to remember, I think, that really make you the well-rounded leader and career that you want to have are: number 1, education. And you're doing a good job with that now. You're getting that. And as you know, and you've heard all forever, it never ends. You got to be learning every day. Things are changing very rapidly in the world, in every area, and we know that. So make sure you're spend some time every day looking at the right websites, learning new ways to do business. What are your competitors doing? Read. Make sure you're reading to keep up with how to be a better manager, how to be a better leader. And don't take it for granted that you know everything, because once you think you know everything, you can't learn anything. And I can tell you, it's changing so rapidly now in marketing, supply chain, and every area of the business that you've got to keep up even after you leave school. And the other 2 areas, which I think are really at the end of the day make you who you're going to be, is your experience. Getting experiences, internships, working at good places that know how to do it. Hopefully you end up at a place that has a good leader that's going to teach you, it's going to train you, it's going to help you learn the business. And so experiences, I think when I look back on my own career, those experiences are what burn your knowledge into your brain. Let me tell you, all those daily experiences handling the business, experience matters. And then last, exposure to the world, exposure to other people, other ways of life, people from other countries. And when I left Oklahoma, I'd never been anywhere and never been out of the state. Today I do work in 45 countries around the world. My book, Creating Magics in 22 Languages, a lot of them colleges and universities do use it as a textbook, and many companies use it as a guide for how to think about their own culture, their own training, their own development for their teams. Because I think we're all learning today, the big problem right now is turnover. People are not staying. And so you've got to want, I think every business out there is going to have to learn the lesson that there's not an unlimited supply of people. And when you get down to having great people, there's even less. So you got to actually, when you hire people today, you've got to tell them what's in it for them. It's not just a job, it's a career. You got to make your commitment to what you're going to do for their training, for their development, for helping them get ahead, for their learnings. And in the old days, when I started out, it was what was in it for the company that was hiring you. Today, everybody going in the workforce, especially younger people, want to know what's in it for me. Why should I come to work for you? And if you don't take care of them and respect them and include them and involve them and listen to them, they leave and they go somewhere else. There's plenty of jobs open out in the world today. So think about how you're going to get continued education about your business, about other things, how you're going to get the right experiences. So in your first few years, try to get into some good companies. And I told my son the same thing when he graduated. I said, go with a good company, because there they will train you. They have training budgets. They'll train you. You'll work under good people if you're, and that's was Hilton, and that was Marriott, and that was Disney. When I think about I couldn't think of 3 better companies to have worked for to learn how to be a better manager, a better leader, to learn the business. And so that paid off. And I told him at the end of 5 years, if you don't like that company, then move on. You'll still be young and you've got that great experience under your belt, and you'll have that name of those companies on your resume. I think each job I got, I had Hilton on my resume, that got me to Marriott. I had Marriott on my resume, that got me to Disney. And having Disney on my resume got me to be able to have a really amazing consulting business where I do seminars and consulting all over the world today, because I think everybody knows Disney does a good job, and they want to know how they do that. The three things that we think about the most of creating the right kind of company is, number one, the people you hire. You've got to keep that top of mind. It's the most important thing you will do in your life as a manager, as a leader, as an executive. The people you bring into your organization are the key to your success. So we are very careful at Disney about hiring, getting the right people. We want to know who you are, what you're all about. Do you have discipline? Are you going to have the right attitude when things are tough and it's hard and we're going through tough times and trying to cut costs and trying to make it friendlier and happier and all the things that happen and go through recessions? And what kind of attitude are you going to have? Even today, Disney has a program where you have to go on the internet and answer some 136 questions about yourself before you get an interview, because they want to learn more about you, what you're all about, how you think about things. And they're very, that little survey is very clear, and some people get through it, some don't. And if you get through it, you get to fill out an application. And when I was there, it's a change today, but one thing you always want to think about when you're running a business someday is before you have the person fill out the application, make sure that you are very clear about your expectations for performance, for their attitude. Clarity of expectations is probably one of the main things you can do to be better than everybody else. That's one of the problems we have today. There's not a lot of clarity. And you don't want people saying, well, you didn't tell me, I didn't understand that. And when you're in business, you ought to start making that list of things you want to say to a person you're hiring about your expectations for working here with us. And it can be everything from being on time to work, to your attitude, to raising your hand to take on extra projects, to if it's weekend work. Everything that you can be clear about will help that person perform better. And then some people will decide not to work for you. They may not like those. It could be about professionalism, about personal appearance. It could be about a whole host of things. And even today at Disney, when they did that when I was there, about 25% of the people decided not to work for Disney after they heard the clarity of expectations. And I can tell you, in every part of your life, be clear. Don't have people saying, you didn't tell me that, I didn't understand that. Because being clear sometimes is hard. You have to have hard conversations, you have to make hard decisions, and most people don't want to do the hard things if they can get away with not doing them. And I can tell you, if you do the hard things, and as a leader, you're going to need to make hard decisions. You're going to have hard conversations with people about their performance. You're going to have difficult guests you're going to have to deal with. And if you do the hard things, life gets easier. Your business gets better. If you take the easy route, life gets harder. And so early on in your life, you want to get the habit of taking on hard things, doing hard things, making hard decisions, doing good research, having a great team around you. And so that's number one, hire them right. Second thing is train them right. Now, that's the name of the game. You hire great people, then you train them. You make sure that you train them in the technical part of their job and the management part of their job. You train them about behavior. You train them about every aspect of the job. And at Disney, we do a lot of training. We spend a lot of money on training. And it's the key, because that training pays off in the guest experience. The guest, your customers around the world want to deal with people that know what they're doing. They know how to do it, and they do it properly, and there's a way to do things. Like I said, when I was in the Army, there was an Army way, and that's the way you did it. And then when I went to Hilton, there was a Hilton way, and that's the way you did it. They had their way, their rules, regulations, policies, procedures, operating guidelines. And when I went to Marriott, I guarantee you there's a Marriott way. I'm 100% sure there is a Disney way. So you want to learn those ways, because all of those companies are successful because they have operating procedures. They have a way they do things. So you get consistency. That's why you get consistency in great brands. And when you think of great brands, I guarantee you they got very specific ways they do things, and they expect everybody to follow those policies, those procedures, those operating guidelines, those rules. And when everybody does that, the customer has a very consistent experience every time they come in. So hire them right and train them right. And training, let me tell you, the number one best training in the world is role modeling. Be careful what you say and do every day, because people are watching you, they're judging you, and you're the leader. You're going to be out there, and you'll have a reputation, and you'll be responsible for it. So think deeply about your attitude, your behavior, how you speak to people, being respectful, paying attention to people, giving them recognition, encouragement. Develop a reputation of somebody who people trust. They trust you. They wake up in the morning. They're glad they work for you, because they know that you'll have when they're doing a good job, you'll tell them. And when they need improvement, you'll tell them, because that's your job. Our job as leaders is to make people better. That's it. I really think at the end of the day, we need less bosses and more teachers. Our job is really to teach. And if you're a leader and you're in charge and you're running something, if you teach all your people the right way to do things, you will have a much more satisfying career. You'll have less stress in your life. People are used to ask me what I did at Disney. I said nothing. All I did was make sure I hired really great people in engineering, finance, in security, in transportation, in all of those departments we have at Disney, which are very complex and need special expertise. And that was my main job as a leader, to have the right people that were well trained, because great people who know what they're doing want to make decisions. So I did not micromanage them. We had clarity about their responsibility. They had a budget. I was available, of course, as a leader. If they needed me, they could come to me, and we would work it out. I would help them and use my position if it was a staffing issue or a cost issue or something else they needed. But day to day, they run their business. And if you hire great people, you want them to run their business. You want them to be responsible. You don't want to be having them come to you for every decision and signing off on everything. You don't hire great people and pay them a lot of money and then micromanage them. And that leaves you, the boss, the teacher, time to work on the bigger things, the future, work on hiring, work on training, work on new things that are going to make the business stronger in the future, and let your team run the business day to day. So we hire them right and train them right. And last, our goal at Disney, and hopefully it's your goal in any position you have and any leadership role in your life, that we treat them right. We treat people right. We treat them respectfully. We are concerned about their training, about their development. We want to be concerned about them having a better future, getting that bigger job down the road, not just coming in and doing a job. Certainly there are people who just want to do a job and they don't want to move into management or into more responsibility. But at the end of the day, our job is to make whatever job you're in, we're going to make you better. And if you want to go into a career, and you will have the opportunity, because we're going to make sure you're getting trained, and we're going to make sure you're getting developed with the right attitudes and the right way to deal with issues and problems and concerns. And so when you hire them right, you train them right, and you treat people right, I guarantee you have the formula for excellence. Those three things are the key to everything you do. And because I will tell you, at the end of the day, every problem you have in your career, every issue, every obstacle you have in your career, it's going to be a person. It's very little, even if it's a product problem, it's created by a person. And you got to be an expert at leading people, managing people, making hard decisions, understanding that it's people who run your company. They are the brand. Your hourly frontline cast members, they are the brand for the company. And you go to Disney, mostly your impressions of Disney or the best restaurant in town or any place will be the interaction you have with the employees, the people who work there. Very seldom will your image of the company or the reputation you think about will be from the vice president of marketing, or you won't even know about those places, or this general manager. It's the people on the front line that create your brand. And you got to always remember that. I don't care if it's a housekeeper, the guy cleaning the bathrooms, the general manager, and hopefully if you're a leader, you're out, general manager, walking your business. When I ran a Marriott hotel, I walked my business 3 times a day. I came in at 6:30 in the morning, walked the whole hotel. I saw every employee on that shift. I took notes as I walked around my hotel and made notes of what needed to be fixed and what people told me and what I needed to follow up on. And then I did it again at around 11:30 before lunch, make sure we're all set to go. I saw all those people before. I did it again around 5 o'clock, 5:30, and saw the evening shift and every day. And what happened was all the employees in the hotel had a comfortable relationship with me. They trusted me because I took notes when they told me something needed to be done, a resource they needed, or a piece of equipment, and I followed up on it when I got back to my office and I took care of it. I saw them the next day, and they could hold me accountable if I hadn't taken care of it. So I encourage you to think about be in your business, get out of your office, get to know your business, get to know the business. When you get to know the business, you're going to have everybody in your organization helping you, because when they trust you, they will tell you what's going on. And I'll tell you, learning the truth is one of the hardest things in life, because people are sometimes intimidated by leadership. They don't want to say something, afraid to do it. And it's the leader's job to make it very comfortable and build such a trusting environment and culture in your company or your job that people want to exchange ideas with you. They want to tell you what's going on. They're not afraid to talk to you about or to bring up sensitive or difficult situations. And when you got everybody in a hotel or a restaurant or a cruise ship helping you run the business, that leads to excellence. That's why you have excellence. And that's how you learn the truth, is by having this relationship with people. So hire them right, train them right, treat them right. I'd write that down, put it on your computer, and look at it every day when you're in a job and say, am I doing this? Do I have the right people? One of the hard things about having the right people is sometimes you have to get rid of the wrong people. You make mistakes, or people don't perform, or for various reasons. They may have personal issues that interfere with their performance, or who knows what it is. But your job is to judge people and hold people accountable for performance. And unfortunately, people always ask me, often they'll say, Lee, what was the hardest part of your job through all the years? And I would tell you, it's always having to terminate somebody. I hate it. I mean, it's usually a good person. They have a family, something going on. You've talked to them many times and they can't turn it around, and the performance is not good, and it's influencing the other people in the organization. Sometimes you have to take that deep breath and sit down and terminate people. And that's the hard part of being a leader and a manager. It's not I guarantee you, when I was young, I didn't know how to do it. I almost got fired myself. My boss said once, if you don't take care of that guy, Lee, I'm going to take care of you. And it's easy to not want to deal with difficult things because they're hard. That's why the main reason people don't deal with hard things, they let them go, and then they get out of control, and then it gets too late, and then you got a bigger problem. So I can't emphasize that enough. Of when you've got a serious problem, a big problem, something that's bothering you, deal with it. Deal with it right then, and get it over with. And obviously, you got to be competent. And I'm sure you know people in your life that are not very competent at what they do, or when you go out shopping, or you go online and try to deal with a company that they're not very competent. They don't have the information. They don't know what the answer is. They don't know how to get the answer for you. Competency is really the name of the game, and it'll be a huge part of your reputation. Competency, and first of all, technical competency, whatever part of the business you're going to go in, sales, marketing, food and beverage, culinary, accounting, finance. It doesn't matter. Whatever you decide to do as your specialty, or the thing you're going to focus on the most, make sure you are an expert at it. You make sure you are competent, and make sure you stay up with it. and you learn all the new things that are happening. Keep an eye on your competitors. Look on the internet every day for ideas. Read so you can come up with new ideas to implement into your property, to where you're working, to your job. And so competency is a big deal. I'm sure we all know people that are not competent because they don't know how to do things. They don't know background. They don't have the right relationship with their teams, and they don't get very good results. So competency is a big deal. You've got to become the person that everybody knows you're the go-to person for that subject. You're the go-to person. Everybody knows you. You'll solve the problem. You'll have the answer. And if you don't have the answer, you'll get the answer. And that is going to be one of the keys. Now, that'll probably be the easiest part of your job, because you're doing something you like. If you're a marketer or sales, you're getting experience. You'll get better at it every day because you do it every day, and you'll learn and you'll make mistakes and you'll get better. You'll get better and better and better and better. So that one may be the easiest one. The second one is management competence. Management is the word management is defined as the act of controlling. When you're a manager, your job is to keep things under control. The budget, cleanliness, friendliness, safety. Your job is management's about doing things, doing the right things. One of the things in management is hiring the right people. That one thing will keep your business under control better than anything else. Training, that's a management thing. It's something you do. And treating people right, that's a management thing. It's something you do. And you've got to make sure that, I will tell you the one thing, in my whole career, I've been teaching time management for 35 years, 40 years, because most people do not have a good system for keeping their life under control, because it's not taught in high school, it's not taught in college. It's something that you really need to get organized with. Even though I have my nice phone, I use it, for everything, except I still have a planner. And I use this planner every day to think about what I'm going to get done today, what I need to do today, tomorrow, this week. And you can use whatever you want. Obviously, the key is, does it work? I wrote a book called Time Management Magic. Try to help people understand it's not hard to do. You're not born disorganized. You become disorganized because so many things are coming at you. Once you get out of school and you start to work, then maybe you get married and then you have kids, and then you this and that, and life gets bigger and bigger and bigger and more complex. And if you don't put a system in place personally, you're going to suffer from anxiety. And we see a lot of people doing that because they can't handle all the problems coming at them, because they don't think deeply enough about what they ought to be thinking about and working on. So think hard about time management. And do you have a system that helps you keep your promises, helps you have credibility, that everybody behind your back is saying, boy, John or Jeff or Lee, they're really organized. They follow up on everything. When they tell you they're going to call you at 5 o'clock Friday, they do. That total credibility, that total reliability is one of the biggest things that will make a big part of your career successful. So I talk about time management a lot because it's probably the number one thing that made my career be so successful. I get up every morning and I go to my coffee shop and I spend 15, 20, 25 minutes thinking about what I ought to be doing today, tomorrow, next week, even into the summer, something I might think about later on, and I write it down. And that's how I work from that. I work from whether it's my family, my children, my grandkids, my health, getting my physical, going to the doctor, taking a training course. Actually, today, this call right now is scheduled in here in my day planner at 1 o'clock because I was supposed to be on, and Timothy would not be happy if I didn't show up because I'm disorganized. And so don't be disorganized. Find yourself a good time management system. You can look at mine if you want, Time Management Magic, how to get more done every day. And because more is going to come at you. I guarantee you companies are trying to cut costs, and we're all going to end up with more work and less people to do it. And we're going to have more responsibility as individuals because that's just the way the world's going. You can't count on your boss saying, I'm going to give you 5 more people to help you get your job done. Probably is going to give you 5 more things to do and expect you to get them done. So don't take this one lightly. Management, being organized, having a system in place to be able to get done what you're supposed to get done, what you say you'll do. And that's one of the ways you build huge trust. People talk about you and they say, wow, this guy's got his act together and he does what he says he's going to do, that I can count on him and I trust him. And when you get that in your whole management team, you'll have less turnover, cast members will be happier, or employees, whatever you call them. And so that's the second thing. The third thing is technological competence. Make sure you are staying up with technology. And since I'm talking to such a young group here today, I assume that you all are all over technology more than somebody like me or somebody else. I have to work hard at it because it came into place when I was halfway through my career. And just make sure you know how to use it, how to keep up with it. And by the way, even though you do, there'll be so many things you're going to find out you miss. You don't know something's available out there with technology, how you could do a better job with your customers, with marketing, with supply chain, with inventory, with staying in touch with your employees, your customers, marketing. That's why you got to really stay on top of what's going on in the world. Because I mean, how often do you find out about something that happened a year ago? You say, wow, I didn't know that. I need to get that. I need to get that device. I need to get that system. Why aren't we using that system? It would have made us so much better. And so technological competence, big deal. And last is leadership competence. You know, how are you going to be that leader who people wake up in the morning and they're glad you are the boss, you're the teacher, you're their person. They're glad they work for you, not because you're easy. You can be difficult, you can have high standards, high demands, but they trust you, and you're there for them when they need to see you. You handle things well. You handle things with the right attitude. You're always helping people learn, and people know they get better by working with you and for you. And so leadership, that's one of those things. Most people, I mean, I don't want to say most people, but a lot of people wake up in the morning, they're not happy who their boss is. They're not happy with their job. And that's not a place you want to be. In fact, I would tell you, if you're not happy in any part of your life, do something about it. Don't let it go. If you don't like your job, your boss is not treating you right, your teacher is not treating you right, make a change. And be careful about the next place you go, because a lot of people, and I don't know what the number is, a lot of people say 70%, 80% of people don't like their job. They don't feel there's a future, or they're respected or included or involved or listened to. And that's what leadership's about. It's about me being aware of who you are and about who everybody is, and that we focus on people, and we focus on their development, we focus on their training, we focus on their attitude and their technical knowledge, and we focus on their technology. And that's what we do. I make people better, and then people, and I have a relationship with them. They know I care about them. That may be the right word. People need to know you care about them. And because it's a whole new ball game, we know what's going on in the workforce. People are skeptical of leadership. They're skeptical of big companies. They're skeptical of what people tell them, that it doesn't turn out to be like the way they said it would be. And so I would say that's the other part. Tell the truth. No matter how hard it is, tell the truth, and you will build trust, and people will enjoy working with you, and your turnover will go down, productivity will go up when you're in that environment where I said at Disney, I didn't want to be the boss. I wanted to be part of the team that made the right decision so we could get things done. And I don't have I don't have an ego that I need to be premier in charge and everybody's got to listen to me and all. No, I had a team that we set and we worked on problems and we came up with solutions, and there was no intimidation, none. And people told me that even after I retired. If they tell you that after you retire, you're in good shape. They might not tell you when you're working. People say, how can you have a good career? I say, number one way to have a good career is be better than everybody else. I'm not kidding. Knowledgeable, learning, attitude, reliability, be better than everybody else. And you can look around right now and you know people who you don't believe they are the best. And you know people who are the best. And those are the go-to people. And those are the people who get promoted and moved up. And you've got to be that person on every level if you're going to be in business. You know, some people don't. Maybe it's being in a big business or a restaurant or hotel or cruise line. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe you want to do your own thing so you can have your own little business and don't have to listen to anybody. I'll tell you right now, if you want some good resources, I have a podcast. It's 15 minutes every single Tuesday. There's 500 episodes on it. It's been going for 10 years. It's only 15 minutes, and we talk about leadership, management, customer service. We talk about everything from anxiety in the workplace, how to fire, how to hire, how to train people, how to build trust in your organization. And you may want to listen to some of those. They're free. They don't cost you a penny. It's called Creating Disney Magic. It's everywhere iTunes, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And also, I would say you might think about the other site. What was I thinking about here? Instagram. Every day we post 1 minute little video, 1 minute to 90 seconds about leadership, management, customer service. And that site is Lee Cockerell Magic. So if you, what I've learned is getting a little dose of something every day, a little bit on leadership, a little bit on management, how to solve this problem, how to solve that problem. All that stuff goes in your brain and you accumulate lots of ways to think about solving problems. So you want to feed your brain just like you feed your stomach. And the more you feed it, the better solutions you're going to have, the better you're going to have more empathy for people. You're going to have more ways to solve problems and solutions. So think about getting that daily input. It's kind of like a little bam, 60 seconds about leadership today. And then you'll think about that as you go through your day, and sometimes you'll use that information to solve a problem. So I would say my main message to you is if you're going to be good leaders, lead with empathy and discipline. People need to be heard. People need to know they matter. You need to be the person who creates that environment and culture. Lead with empathy and discipline. And I always say that's the mother effect. That's what mothers do. They love you, they care about you, and they lead with empathy and discipline. They have the hard conversations with you. And that's if you care about your teams when you're out in business, you'll lead with empathy and discipline. And I would say manage with fairness and firmness. People need to know you're fair, but you're firm. And you're not afraid to have the hard conversations and do the hard things. And if you do those kinds of things, you're just going to have more success and you know what to do with. And, we say management is about how to do things. That's management. You put them in your planner, you check them off as you get them done. Management's about how to do. Leadership's about how to be there for your people, how to be a person of integrity, how to be a person who can have the hard discussions, how to be a person who can make hard decisions, how to be a person who tells the truth, how to be, not do. So we need to all, certainly we're going to have plenty to do. We've got to be more. A lot of people are doing a lot, but they're not being a lot. And who you are is people, that's what they're interested in. Your teams are not going to be caring about what your job is, how much money you make, and what your title is. They're going to care about who are you. Are you somebody I can work with, trust? I treat you right. I don't have a problem saying I don't know. I'll find out for you. I just read Barack Obama said the other day, somebody asked him what kind of people you like to work with. He said, I like to work with people that get it done. And when I think about that, that doesn't mean you have to do it. That means you're responsible for getting it done. You may have to go to somebody else. You may have to get an expert. You may have to ask 12 other people. But at the end of the day, you get it done. And whoever you work with will know. Give it to that person because they always get it done. They get it done on time. They get back to me and they keep me informed. And I know what's going on around here. And I can tell you, you will stand out from everybody else in the workplace. Just be. And everything matters. When you want to be excellent, everything matters. So you got to pay attention to everything. And take care of your teams, and they'll take care of you. There's no doubt in my mind about that. That's just how life works. If you love me, I love you. And that's how we all have to think about it. Don't be that leader out there that's a jerk. And I'm sure every one of you worked for them in your life. I think the professional challenge was my insecurity. I think a lot of people have insecurities, and the way I grew up, and I didn't have a college degree, so I always didn't think I was good enough, and I kept getting promoted. And I can tell you, I in the early days I was a good manager, but I wasn't a nice manager. I didn't treat people very well because uh, I found out with insecurity, that's kind of when people yell at you or intimidate you or raise their voice to you, or that's a person with mainly probably low self-esteem and low self-confidence, which I suffered from. So I really had to work on it to go through that to be not only a good manager. You can get it done while you're there, but when you walk away, do they keep doing it because they feel like it's a responsibility, and they like working with you and for you, and they don't want to disappoint you. And so that was I had to come around to treating people respectfully and trusting people. I didn't trust anybody. And I think a lot of people are in that situation that you've got to. I mean, I went to I went to courses after that. I started reading about it, how to let go, how to be more clear about giving people responsibility so that I didn't become disappointed. So I would say my my problems were me, and that may be a lot of people, but other than that, I learned the business. I never had a problem learning the stuff. It's learning how to deal with people. I developed something called Disney Great Leader Strategies. I worked on it for almost a year and a half with a consultant, trying to lay out what leadership looks like, what it looks like from the people being led. And I can tell you, my accomplishment, no doubt, is going from being a manager to being a teacher. If you ask me today what I want to be remembered for, I want people to remember me as a teacher, because I think two people in my life that I think about professions the most are teachers and nurses. Those are the people that are amazing. They're focused. They do their job. I mean, who's more important than a teacher in the world? And that's what mothers do. Mothers teach their children how to be good people. And that's what we need to be doing, is making sure that I care so much about the people who work for me. I'm going to teach them, everything I know, and I'm going to make opportunities for them to learn. I'm going to send them to seminars. I'm going to give them good books to read. I'm going to have discussions with them every time we get together about leadership, about management, about their own attitude and responsibility, because I would love if somebody, and actually I get my thrill from when people write to me and say, thanks so much, Lee. I learned a lot from you, or I learned a lot from that book you wrote, or I learned. That's how I get my juice. It's when people appreciate me. So that's what I think you got to think about. Make sure you're doing things for others, not just for you. Yeah, I think Walt Disney kind of set the pace when he started. Clarity of, that just the simple thing of everybody being a cast member, and that that concept that we're in a show, we're putting on a show, and every listener today is putting on a show. I don't care where they are. Doctor's office has a grocery store, Costco, you name it. When you call somebody on the phone, everybody's got a role in the show, and we make sure that we select the right people for the roles, just like in a Broadway show. And we train them, and we audition them, and we make them great performers, and we treat them right so they want to be here and be in the show. I think if you can get that concept around your head, that everything you do every day, you're really putting on a show. And in business, it's for consistency. It's everybody in your organization is expected to have a good attitude, a good behavior, and that the leadership is trained to manage that and to be there to assist and help. And I don't know. Every day, everybody on this call goes somewhere. You go to a doctor's office, they are not aware they're putting on a show. They don't treat you right. They don't say good morning. They don't have a way to run their business where you walk out of there and you say, wow, that was the best doctor's visit ever, or that was the best gas station I've ever filled up at, how nice the guy was. And this is the key. You're putting on a show, and any good Broadway show, they stay on Broadway for a long time because of consistency. They're so well done. They have such good performance. The curtain opens on time. The props are all in the right place. The music is right. The lighting is right. The people are right. The restrooms are clean. And you go out of there and you say, wow, what a great evening. And that's what you want. People ask me what magic is. And I said, magic is when you do such a good job, nobody knows how you did it. They're trying to figure out, how do they do that? And that's what you got to think about. Everything matters. And if you think about it, putting on a show every day, yeah, I don't think anybody ever saw me go in and have in a bad attitude at Disney, even though I probably had one some days. I got out of my car, took a deep breath, and knew that I was part of the show, and I was the director of the show, and I needed to be a good role model. And what we teach is what we got to practice. And so there you are. We're all actors. Well, we certainly we're going through that right now. By the way, it's pretty tough right now. Disney's taking a lot of grief over, well, from the shareholders anyway, and people that are not so much in the parks. Service, I think, is good in the parks, and people are doing a good job. But there's some strategy issues in the streaming business and all, which is kind of putting a cloud over Disney in a way. But we have a lot of listening posts. We interview 2 million guests a year, either when they're going on a ride or when on the internet, or many ways. Every day we are talking to customers and guests that see what experience they had. And everything from, was the bathroom clean, to did you get into your room quick enough, and our goal is to try to learn those things early on by continually talking to the guests to find out what is not going right and what is going right. And so that's why I walk my hotel every day. When you walk your hotel 3 times a day from top to bottom, you know what's going on, and you fix problems before the guest even know there is a problem. And that's the key in life, trying to fix it before it becomes a problem by being awareness. And I tell people today, your customers and your employees know everything you need to know if you're a good leader. Mm-hmm. And if they trust you, they'll tell you. And they'll tell you, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. And you'll go and you'll fix it before the guest recognizes that it's a problem. So stay in touch with your guests, talk to them. You can never do enough of that. They know what, and when you take care of what guests are concerned about and employees are concerned about, the outcomes are amazing. And Marriott was like that too. We had a good handle on feedback from customers because we were out and about in the business. And at Disney, the managers are required to be in 80% of their day out in the operation, not in the office. 80% of the day, they got to be out with the cast members. So they're experiencing the experience, and they're walking through the bathrooms, and they're checking that, make sure there's no trash on the ground, and managing the lines. And so it's about good leadership, good training and good leadership that makes sure everybody's doing what they were trained to do. That's a concern for me. I think some organizations, including Disney, adopted some technology too quickly, where the guest is not happy about it. And they're working their way through that right now, trying to think, did we do it too fast? You still have a big mixture of young people and older people. And if you put too much technology in where the customer has to do it themselves, and they're not capable and they don't know how to do it, there's a big frustration happens. And so there's a lot of technology that's been applied to the parks now about how to what days you can get in, and that whole reservation system, and how you get on the ride. Do you pay an extra price to get in a separate line? And so we got everybody walking around the parks looking at their phones, trying to manage their visit. And I think you got to really have a balance between human connection and technology. And you can't, and I think we're probably, everybody on this call is frustrated with technology from time to time. I mean, really, everything you have to do today, you have to do yourself. And you can't even call your doctor's office. I don't think you can ever talk to a doctor again. Or So it's getting that fine balance between is the guest satisfied, and are they going to stay with you as you implement this technology, or are they going to walk away and go somewhere else? That's the key. And then there's a whole bunch of people that love the technology. I mean, so you got all kinds of customers, you got all kinds of guests, and you got to be thinking about whether it's a human touch or the technology touch with every decision you make. And then you got to monitor it and say, did we make a mistake? Should we lighten up on that? Should we go back on that? Obviously everybody's trying to do it to save labor. Frankly, I think that everybody's trying to do it to save labor more than they are convenience for the customer. I find it not always convenient for me, but it's probably a cost savings for them. So it's a tough one. Yeah, I would say a couple things. Number one, do not underestimate what you can achieve in your life. Do not. And do not underestimate the influence you have every day with everybody you come into contact with. And I would say persistence is the name of the game. And by the way, knowing people is what gets you into these internships, a connection. So get to know people, stay in touch with them. And so that the more people you know, the better in your life. Every time I meet somebody, I put their name and phone number in my phone and what city they live in. And someday I might have to call them back to try to get some help on something. But people are going to be the ones that it's not going to be online that's going to drive your career. It's going to be people helping you along the way and you knowing people. And it's still going to be people. And I must say, that's why I hate all this online applying for jobs. I think a lot of great people are missed because I mean, it's just I want to be eyeball to eyeball with somebody and see who they are. So get to know everybody you can, and don't be afraid to call the general managers or vice president and say, "Would you mind talking to me? Would you call? Could I have a breakfast with you? Could I meet you for a coffee? I'm a student. I'm doing this." But you'll be surprised. More than half of them will say, "Sure." Don't be afraid to go anywhere you want to go. You might be shocked because there are a lot of good people out there, and especially in our business, that want to help. And all you got to say, could you help me? And I help a lot of people. They call me and ask me to meet with them and give them advice. And so that's what we should be doing.
Thanks for joining us at Hospitality Internships, the premier global talent network. Special thanks to Lee Cockerell with the Cockerell Academy. Check out the links below for links to the Cockerell Academy, as well as his books and social media. Also, be sure to like and comment on this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more upcoming videos and information.